Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand. I am your host, Grant McGaw, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal branding and business development company. I want to take you on a journey that takes another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal story, business conversations, and tips to improve your personal brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand podcast series, you will be able to differentiate yourself from the competition and allow you to build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build trust, and reflect who you are. Developing your 5-star personal brand is a great way to demonstrate your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh, spelled M-C-G-A-U-G-H, at 5-star BDM, B for brand, D for development, M for masters.com. Now let's begin with our next 5-star episode on Follow the Brand. Welcome to the Follow the Brand podcast. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, where we help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. Do you fully realize your full potential and breadth of experience? Are you encouraged to seek new experiences and opportunities within your purview? These are the questions answered by my next guest, Alvin J. To possess a long-lasting, successful career, you must have a playbook that outlines your steps to succeed, says D'Angelo. He has written a book to help healthcare executives to gain competitive edge and reach their full potential. He understands the power of mentors, the traps in career complacency, and why you need to have a clear focus for upward mobility. He also understands that growth comes with patience and by challenging yourself to keep learning. Alvin J. D'Angelo is a highly qualified and experienced healthcare engineering professional with over 7 years of applicable experience in the areas of project management, quality assurance, process engineering, health information technology, and financial management. Professional, dependable, and service-oriented, Alvin offers a unique combination of creativity and analytical skill with the ability to access both vantage points for creating practical solutions to complex technical issues involving internal and external stakeholders. Mr. D'Angelo's prior educational and professional background has provided him with a solid foundation in the sciences and mathematics. This has afforded him the opportunity to apply and utilize various problem-solving techniques while gaining practical experience in positions that require extensive knowledge in the areas of, but not limited to, production and data analysis, professional management, and critical decision-making. Additionally, Mr. D'Angelo is a graduate of the prestigious Johns Hopkins University, where he completed his Master's of Engineering in Systems Engineering. Alvin currently serves as the Vice President of Operations for Johns Hopkins Hospital, where he leads a team of healthcare systems engineers, nurses, and analysts, while also providing direct support to executive leadership. He has served in several key leadership capacities also at Emory and Duke University Health Systems, where he provided leadership and operational oversight for multiple hospital-based surgical clinics that included 18 different specialties and subspecialties. Joe received his formal education from the University of South Carolina, where he graduated from the Norman J. Arnold School of Public Health, obtaining a Bachelor of Science degree in biomechanics and exercise physiology, shortly followed by a Master of Healthcare Administration. As a firm believer in STEM, Joe later earned a Master of Science in Systems Engineering from Johns Hopkins University, where he graduated with honors. He also has completed advanced training and certification as a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt practitioner and a Kaizen Rapid Improvement Event facilitator, both from North Carolina State University. A recipient of many professional awards and recognitions, Joe is an active member and fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives and the former parliamentarian and executive board member for the National Association of Health Services Executives, the Atlanta chapter. In 2021, Joe became a published author with the release of his book, From Wishing to Winning, 21 Approaches to Unleashing Long-Lasting Success. In his spare time, he enjoys traveling with his family to different countries, writing DIY projects, and spending time with close friends and family. Above all, Joe governs his life by Matthew 6:33 and is a firm believer in the quote, "Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can," a quote by Arthur Ashe. Let us welcome Alvin Joe D'Angelo to the Follow the Brand podcast, where we are building a 5-star brand that you can follow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Follow the Brand podcast. I always bring interesting people, and sometimes I go to the state of Georgia to find some of those people. And today, I find myself hovering around the Atlanta area, and I zoomed in literally on Alvin D'Angelo. He is a special human being. We're going to hear more about his story and what makes him special, and some of the things that you're going to be able to get out of this to take out some quivers that you can use in your walk of life toward greater success. So, Alvin, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, Grant, thank you so much for having me on your show and on your platform. You're doing a phenomenal job in really just showcasing the talent and showcasing your brand. And I'm grateful to be a part of that. So as Grant said, I'm Alvin D'Angelo, currently located in Atlanta, Georgia. I serve as a Vice President of Operations for Emory Healthcare, and I'll lead the DeKalb Emory Hospital. So I have the great fortune of leading great teams there. Been in healthcare about 15 years now, engineer by profession turned administrator. So I have a technical background as well. And I've been fortunate to progress and work in different sectors of healthcare. So I have a different lens of healthcare, and relocated to the Atlanta area about a year ago after spending about 6.5 years at Duke University Health System in Durham, North Carolina. Originally from Sumter, South Carolina, so a small county and city in central South Carolina. Very proud native of Sumter, South Carolina, and spent a lot of different time in South Carolina and North Carolina in the southeastern region. So yeah, really excited to be here, Grant, and looking forward to the conversation.
Well, we're going to have a real insightful opportunity to talk to you, this conversation, because you are a person that, as I see out to the landscape across this nation, and I talk specifically to our African-American healthcare executive, people that have gone to school, they've gotten their degrees, they've gotten into industry, and they're on that cycle, that circle of trying to move forward. You have done that, and you've capitalized on that in a book that you're telling people how you put together a system that has worked for you. So before we're going to go into that and talk about those tidbits, because we want to bring in our audience so they understand that you're going to be able to share some of the things in the book, not everything, because we want them to go and get the book, but some of the things that you feel right now that they could take advantage of to be successful, to get noticed, and what you're doing to leverage in your brand for success.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good, Grant. And to your point, I released my first book last October. It's entitled From Wishing to Winning. And I offer 21 approaches to unleashing long-lasting success. You have a lot of books that stay in time, and and they give you pointers on how to succeed and how to be successful. But there's a difference in being successful, and then there's a stark contrast in being successful versus sustaining long-lasting success. So I included 21 approaches that I've used throughout my career that's, tried and true to me. And they work for me. Now, that's not to say that those are the only ways to success. There are many ways and there are many paths, but I just offer some insights on what has worked for me.
Well, I tell you, coming from South Carolina, this is the profile. You're coming from South Carolina. You're growing up, and I believe when you were telling me that you didn't go straight to college, you took some time to work. You were in a single family home. Mm-hmm. You had other choices, other things, let's just say other things pulling at you. When did it come to you that I needed to focus? I've got a skill set that I need to hone and grow.
I think when it really came evident to me. So you touched on earlier that, I didn't go immediately to college right after high school. I had a little break in there. And during that time, I worked for about 2 years in a factory plant, manufacturing plant. And during that time that I was working in a manufacturing plant, it really kind of helped me develop who I was. I was still trying to figure out, who I was and what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go and what I wanted my life to look like. And during that time that I spent in that manufacturing plant, it really helped me to see where I wanted to be and where I wanted to go. And one day I was in there. It's a really interesting story. I was in there and I had met a gentleman in there by the name of Harrison Conyers, and he was a welder by profession. And older gentleman, we would stop, from time to time and have conversations. And he would give me some, just some nuggets about life and some advice and, some direction here and there. And we, have general conversation. And one day we were talking and he looked at me and he said, Joe, why are you here? And I said, well, I'm just working. I'm just trying to make some money until I decide what I want to do. And he said, no, you need to get out of here. You're too smart to be here. Don't get trapped in here. And, what he was communicating to me was not that I was too good to be working in that facility, but he saw more in me at that time than I could see in myself. And that really sparked something in me to say, hey, I could be doing more out here. So that was really that relationship and that conversation, and that really and that uncommon path. I've never had a common path to anything. I've never had a traditional path to anything. I think that's what's really helped me. That simple conversation that day really helped me to push forward and say, you know what, there's more out here for me.
I love that. I hear so much in life, talking to different people, you have crucial moments. You don't even know that they're crucial at the time that it's happening, but it becomes crucial. And what I got out of the story you just told me there is that you developed confidence and you started to see more of what you were capable of. And that was coming from the inside. Because if you were giving yourself negative messaging, from the community or the world around you, you like you said, you could have get stuck right there. And that was the end. Hey, I'm doing 30 years here. And we all know now that track is no longer real. No one takes on a job today and expects to be there for 30 years and retire and 401k and the picket fence. No, that doesn't work anymore. You're going to probably go to different experiences, over time, 4 or 5 years here, that kind of thing. And you're going to move around. So now you got the bug now. You said, wow, the fire is lit. And you decide to go back to school, but you got into engineering. Why did you pick engineering?
Yeah, that's a great question. So initially, I always knew that I wanted to be in healthcare in some capacity. But I couldn't really figure out what area I wanted to be in. I toyed with the idea of maybe, being a physician. And for the longest period of time, I really wanted to be a physical therapist. So really went down the whole track of becoming a physical therapist and got into my senior year of college and was, and really found that although I felt like at the time I was really passionate about physical therapy, I thought that I knew that there was something different out there for me because I wanted to have a diversity in what I do every day. So I didn't want to come in and do the same thing every day. I wanted new and unique experiences and challenges. So I finished up my bachelor's degree and then decided to pursue my master's in health administration. So got my master's in health administration, started an entry level job with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and really got to start. Got my foot wet in healthcare and started learning about the insurance industries and how insurance is, how it's drafted, how laws are made around it, how the calculations work. And I was always pretty good in math and sciences and wanted to figure out a way to, further enhance who I was as a person, but also, really kind of advance my career. And then at that point, I decided to obtain my master's in engineering from Johns Hopkins. So I was fortunate enough to finish my master's in systems engineering from Hopkins, and then from there, my career just kept progressing, and I, like I said, worked in multiple sectors of healthcare. So that drive really just for more and always having a curiosity of what things could be, despite how they may look at the time. Because sometimes we have an idea of where we want to be and where we want to go, and a lot of times life tells us something different. So I was always just open to what could potentially be and where I could potentially grow to, and I've been extremely fortunate.
Well, it's that self-discovery phase. I talked to some other people. They were telling me about when they were, at that time, young in their life, trying to figure out what they want to do, but then they didn't take the time to really find out who they were as a person. You listen to your parents. You graduate high school. You just go right into some program that you may or may like, maybe you don't like, and then you might even change along the way. And then you go right into the workforce because you got bills to pay and that kind of thing. But you're still growing. You're still trying to figure it out, but you haven't taken the time to step really deep into yourself and discover your passion. Because when you discover your passion, you can endure the different things that are going to happen in your life. No matter what profession that you choose, you will have challenges. But if you have the internal fortitude and the resilience, he's like, no, this is what I'm doing. You're going to grow. And I think you did that you took the time, even when you're working. So, all right, I felt something with healthcare, physical therapy. You got into that. Then you start feeling I need some more technical knowledge. You got into engineering, but then you're seeing how to apply the knowledge. Applied knowledge is so key.
Right.
And then you get to the point where I'm going to give back through a book. So I think I got something here because you saw some of the gaps. This episode is brought to you by 5-Star BDM. 5-Star BDM is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for small to mid-sized businesses and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement in operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our 5-Star Business and Personal Branding Company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. The result is more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Please visit www.5starbdm.com to learn more and view all the episodes of Follow the Brand. In education and job training, that's needed. And that's what we want to talk about, because we've got people out there, they feel that they're stuck in what they're doing right now. You see the great resignation. There's big labor shortages even now in healthcare, but people are starting to think about, what am I going to do next? What can I do next? Or how can I evolve in what I'm doing right now? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the book really aligns with, not only who I am as a person, but, who I am as a professional. And, a few things that I touch on in that book has really helped me and folks that I'm really close to. I'll share a few examples just for the listeners today that that will hopefully help them, and then hopefully they'll go out and purchase the book and read all 21 of them. But I'll share a few here. One of them, Grant, that is really, really important, and that I think a lot of folks that are just entering their career, or they may be mid-careerist, they really don't understand the power of having mentors and sponsors. So as a leader and as someone who's trying to progress in any field, you have to understand that you won't do it all by yourself. No matter how good you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter what school you went to, whatever the case may be, you have to have folks that are guiding and coaching you and sponsoring you. So I've always been intentional in making sure that I, really foster relationships with people that I admire and people that I look up to that can really help me and guide my career, because I realized early on that I didn't have all the answers. So really, being intentional about finding a 1 to 2, in some cases, mentors, or, I like to say sponsors as well. The next one, a next tip that I will share is really around, I call it being content, but not complacent. So, as you grow in your career, we can get into, a really good job, maybe the job that we dreamed of, or the job that we've always wanted, or the company that we've always wanted to work for. You're starting to make a little bit of money, and, you're starting to, getting to dress how you thought you wanted to dress, and going into the job and going into these meetings, and, getting involved in organizations. And the tendency can be to say, okay, I'm good now. I've made it. I don't need to do anything else. I'm just going to sit here and chill, and that's it. And that's when that complacency sets in. So I've always been really mindful about making sure that I am content, content and grateful from where I'm at, and appreciative of where I'm at, but also not making the mistake of getting stuck and complacent, because time flies really fast. And before you know it, you could look up and it could be 10 years and you could be in the same position or the same role and not really had any growth. So that's one. That's another one, and then I'll share one more, and it's just always really making sure that you stay hungry. And when I say stay hungry, you had mentioned my bio, my background earlier, and I like to look at myself as a lifelong learner. So I always like to challenge myself, always like to learn new things, always like to, see, what the latest and greatest, articles are, what's the research going on. So I like to just learn, and naturally that kind of helps me from a career standpoint and a growth standpoint. So I would just always say you have to stay constantly hungry. You can't get complacent, be appreciative, but also be very intentional. So those are just a three tips that I'll share with the listeners, and hopefully some of that resonates with them.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I love those tips. I look at that lens from the lens of curiosity, stay curious and competitive. Mm-hmm. And take a look at that, because this is what happens. We're in a branding show and they talk a lot about career development, business development. When someone is looking at your resume or they're looking at your digital profile, let's just say on LinkedIn and whatnot, they're looking to see your growth and trajectory, right? So if you're in the same role for a period of time, it becomes like you've ripened on the tree and they don't see you doing anything else. Or then you become, I call it, even typecast in certain things. Like you are that person and they can't see you doing anything else. And then when you begin to see, either you have two choices, right? You can either just see that self or you can see a greater self. You can grow out of that. And I see that in you. And I like the way you branded yourself. You've got your own professional website that you're launching your book on. You're telling your story. You've got nice video that kind of explains your why. Why are you doing this? What is your point of doing this? And why would I be interested? And I applaud you for that, because I don't see that a lot in other professionals, that they're just almost like you just said, they're living how it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Hey, I got that job, resume, CV, and all I'm going to do is add another job title and a description to my next resume, and that's it. Well, that's not the way it's happening any longer. If you don't understand search and social, mm-hmm. and understand how you fit into someone else's world, and they see that, wow, I might have hired you as a operational person, but man, he's got potential to be in engineering. He understands tech ops, right? Mm-hmm. And in a highly technological world, especially that we're moving into, you're looking for multifaceted people, and mm-hmm. that you got to also keep that person busy, because mm-hmm. if you outgrow that particular role, you're going to go somewhere else that you can, keep growing, because you don't know your full potential yet. So I like how you've shared a lot of what the mindset is, and that you've taken advantage of that. And this is the point in my show. I like to unplug. So I don't want to just ask you a series of questions, right? I want you to talk directly to the audience, just like, you just gave us 3 fantastic tips. They were wonderful. And thinking about where you're at now, Vice President, Operations, Emory Healthcare, I want you to talk to that individual that was in the manufacturing plant. Talk to that person, and you become the mentor or advocate, and you inspire that person to do more. What would you say?
That's a phenomenal question, Grant. I would tell that individual so many things, so many lessons learned along this long journey. I would tell that person to one, be encouraged that there is better out there, and trust in your higher power, whoever that you serve, that your path will come to fruition if, and that's a big if, you're willing to put in the time and the effort and the work to get there. Understanding that it won't be done alone, and you'll have a series of highs and lows. So know that whether you're in college, whether you're already in your career, whether you're just starting out, you're in mid-career, or even if you're at the executive level, like I am, there will always be a series of highs and lows. I would say really also make sure that you are giving yourself some grace. So a lot of times, particularly in this day and time, we live in a very technologically advanced society where we can tend to compare ourselves and our progress to others that may be in our peer groups or in our age groups. And I think that really stifles, or that can really stifle your progress. So I would say give yourself some grace to know that if you put in the time and the energy and the work and the diligence, that what is for you will be for you, and that will come to fruition. And it may take some time. There's some folks that it takes, 3 or 5 years, to get to their ultimate goal. And there's some folks that are, or it takes 10 years. And just because it takes you a little bit longer doesn't mean that you're any less smart, doesn't mean you're any less intelligent or you're not as valuable. So give yourself some grace, and really just understand that there's this idea that that once you get a certain title, or once you become a CEO of an organization or whatever the pinnacle is, that you've arrived. And I like to think that no one ever really arrives at anything. And if you do, or if you feel like you have, you probably should really do some soul searching and say, maybe I'm complacent. Maybe I'm too comfortable, because like I mentioned earlier, I feel like you should always be challenging yourself and say, where can I improve on just a little bit more? And you were absolutely right earlier when you were talking about this day and time and how you're marketing yourself. And that's why I love your platform so much, is that it speaks directly to what it means to market and brand yourself, not as a organization, but who we are as individuals. And we all have our own brands. Just like Nike has a brand of shoe and athletic gear, that's their brand. But we all have a brand, and we all represent something, and we all stand for something. And now more than ever, it's important to really pull out who we are as people and what we want to represent, and know that, yes, I'm an engineer. Yes, I'm a healthcare executive and an author and all these other things, but there's more to Joe than just, at the surface. And we should all stand for more. We should stand for helping people, for raising folks up, for giving back, for being role models, and all these good things in the community. So that's a few things that I would tell to my younger self, or to folks coming up behind me, that it's a long journey. It's full of highs and lows, but if you stay patient, it's worth it.
I love that. Now I want to ask, was that Alvin talking to Joe, or was that Joe talking to Alvin?
Man, I think that might have been Alvin talking to Joe.
I love it. I tell you, how can the audience get in touch with you?
Yeah, great question. So, I'm available on LinkedIn. You can reach out directly to me, LinkedIn. So Alvin J. D'Angelo. You can reach me at my direct email, which is info@actionworks.com. So you can reach out and connect with me there, or you can connect with me through my regular email at alvindangelo@gmail.com. So those are 3 quick ways that you can reach out and connect with me.
Awesome, because you've got the website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a website, from wishingandwinning.com. That is the website for my book. And you can go on there and see the book and see a little bit about my story and see a video and some different things on there, some reviews as well. So you can check that out, and then have some other work and some other projects that'll be, coming forward soon. So I'll talk a little bit about that on the website as well too. So yeah, those are some ways we can connect. I'm always looking forward to connecting and meeting new people, whether or not you're in healthcare or not. I like meeting people from different industries and just learning more and making sure we're staying connected.
I tell you, this has been a pleasure talking to you and you sharing your story on the Follow Brand podcast. I encourage everyone to tune in to all the episodes on Follow Brand at www.5starbdm. That is B for brand, D for development, and for masters.com. Thank you so much for joining the show, Joe.
Thank you so much for having me, Grant. Take care now.
You're welcome.